At my stepson's graduation party, my seat was occupied by his long-missing biological mother. Mom, this is a toast to you. Thanks to your encouragement, I was able to get into such a good high school. The father-in-law praised him for being sensible, and he burst into tears when he saw his ex-wife's sister. The mother-in-law happily filmed a short video with the caption, "We are a loving family." I sneered, "Come on, without my money, he can only go to the worst technical secondary school." I then sent a message to the principal. My son wanted to go to a technical secondary school, so he didn't want the extra place. I came back early from the graduation party. Thinking of how my stepson's family behaved at the dinner table, my heart grew colder and colder. After being married into the Fu family for 10 years, I have long regarded my stepson Mateo Fu as my own son. From food, clothing, housing, and transportation to medical care and education, everything has been arranged by me. I thought my sincerity would be rewarded with sincerity, but I didn't expect it to be an ungrateful person who could never be tamed. Just when I was feeling angry, Mateo Fu called. "Auntie, I'll take my mom home later. Please prepare some fruits and drinks." I heard a familiar voice and took a deep breath. "I'm not feeling well. Go to the supermarket and buy it yourself." Mateo Fu tooted and said impatiently, "I don't have the time." The mother-in-law took over the phone. "Iran, it's rare for Ziming's mother to come home. You must not hurt her feelings. Your father-in-law drank some wine, so you can cook some stomach-nourishing soup." A feeling of powerlessness weighed on my heart, and I said tiredly, "Mom, I have a fever." The mother-in-law paused for a second and said nonchalantly, "I see that you are in good spirits. There are medicines in the drawer of the coffee table in the living room. You can just take some." There was a jeer from the other end of the phone, and Mateo Fu's hurried voice sounded again. "Auntie, my mom loves cherries. Buy more." The call was hung up abruptly and my headache got even worse. I had a slight fever when I left the house this morning, but in order not to miss the graduation banquet I have endured it until now. But not only did the family not care about my health, they even didn't care that I left the table early. I took out the expired antipyretic medicine from the drawer and my heart ached. Mateo Fu is the surviving son of my husband Elijah Fu. Elijah Fu and I met while traveling. He was with Mateo Fu, who was only 6 years old at the time. He fell in love with me at first sight and pursued me madly. I didn't like him at first and didn't want to be someone else's stepmother, but he not only respects my career, he also truly loves me. So I married him and planned to have another sister, but unexpectedly, he had a car accident and died on the way to deliver food to me. The last words he left me were that he hoped I could take good care of Mateo Fu. My mother-in-law and father-in-law cried and made a fuss blaming me for killing their son. I stayed in the Fu family for 10 years because of guilt. In the past 10 years my ex-wife's sister has ignored their family and only gave them a red envelope of 200 yuan at most during the holidays. Mateo Fu said he couldn't leave me, so I quit my high-paying job at the Education Institute and returned to teach math at a school near the community. She worked hard to raise Mateo Fu until he was 16, but he didn't even have a seat at the graduation banquet. Mateo Fu and my in-laws, I have always been an outsider. In the evening Mateo Fu happily returned home holding his mother Maeve's hand, carrying a packing box in his hand. He threw the takeaway box carelessly on the coffee table. "Auntie, Grandma said you didn't eat dinner, so she packed something for you." I resisted the urge to vomit and opened the takeaway box, and I burst into laughter at what I saw. Broken chicken necks, wilted vegetables, and some fish filled with fat. My face froze. "Are you sure you brought it for me?" Mateo Fu raised his eyebrows proudly. "Yes. Grandma said you were sick, so she made it especially for you." I suppressed my anger and asked, "Where are your grandma and grandpa?" Mateo Fu said as he looked through the snack cabinet, "They're out doing square dancing. Remember to prepare grandpa's stomach-nourishing soup." Mateo Fu didn't find the cherries that Maeve wanted to eat, so he complained, "Auntie, my mom doesn't like the things you prepared." I ignored him and fixed my gaze on the woman in front of me. In the middle of winter she was wearing a short skirt, her hair was slightly curled, and she had light makeup on, looking very delicate. I just put on a down jacket, but because I hadn't taken care of my hair for a long time it exploded in the dry air. Maeve looked at me calmly and gave me a perfect smile. "You've worked hard to take care of Ziming over the years. Now he's successful and got into such a good high school. I heard that this high school graduate can at least get into a 211 university." Mateo Fu came over with a playful smile. "That's because you and Dad have good genes." The two of them were being so intimate, as if no one was around, making me look like a joke. I clutched the hem of my clothes tightly and Maeve's voice rang in my ears again. By the way, have you rented a house yet? I was stunned. What house? Maeve was sitting on the sofa and the strong smell of her perfume gave me a headache. I plan to move back and live with Zimming. Didn't mother-in-law tell you? Mateo Fu in disbelief. Mateo Fu lowered his eyes guiltily and quickly went back to his room to play games. Seeing that I was frozen in place, Maeve added, as a mother, it's time for me to make up for the maternal love that Zimming has been missing all these years. Maeve went to take a shower. I sat on the sofa with a sullen face. Opposite me were my parents-in-law, who had just returned from dancing. My father-in-law took off his sweaty and smelly coat and threw it on the sofa, pointed at me and started giving orders. Go get me a bowl of soup. I said coldly, no, you want to drink it. Can't you make it yourself? The father-in-law widened his eyes upon hearing this. Alara, how did you talk to me? The mother-in-law immediately slapped her hands on her legs and said, oh my, as expected. After her son died, the daughter-in-law no longer treated her parents-in-law as human beings. Which daughter-in-law dares to talk to her parents-in-law like this? We are just unlucky. If our son were still alive, he would never have endured this kind of humiliation. She pretended to squeeze out a few tears in an attempt to morally blackmail me. Elijah Fu left. The same scene has occurred no less than 10 times. I used to think they were elderly and family members, so I didn't bother with them, but now I realize they treated me as a free babysitter. Since you treat me as a nanny, why should I swallow my anger? My voice was like ice. Instead of playing a sympathetic role here, why don't you explain to me why you didn't tell me that Maeve came back to live with me? And why can she come back to live with me? Although the Fu family's house was Elijah Fu's premarital property, I paid for the decoration, household appliances, sofas, and even the mattress. Not to mention the property fees, water, electricity, gas, and repair fees over the years. The mother-in-law wiped away her tears and even looked scathing. My son paid for this house. It will be ours after he dies. It's none of your business to decide who lives in our own house. The father-in-law slammed the cup of water on the coffee table and said, Xiaolin is Zimming's biological mother. Now that he has finished his studies, it is reasonable for her to come back. What does it have to do with you as a stepmother? There are limited rooms. You will move out and Xiaolin will stay in your room, but you still have to cook 3 meals a day. I was completely frozen, not understanding how they could be so shameless. Since you guys are so clear about the division, then you should pay me back the money I've spent on supporting your family for the past 10 years. With a slap, my father-in-law slapped me in the face. I'm here to teach you a lesson on behalf of my son. It's your duty to support your parents-in-law and raise your son. We've let you live here for free for all these years, and you've lost your mind, right? My ears were buzzing and the corners of my mouth were bleeding. When I looked up, I saw Maeve, who had just finished taking a shower, and Mateo Fu, who was standing in the corner gloating. Maeve kept smiling, but I felt cold all over. My heart is completely dead. I contacted a lawyer overnight, and the lawyer said that although Elijah Fu had passed away, if he did not leave a specific will, I would be the first-line heir to his estate. Mateo Fu's family over the years will not be recovered, but I cannot take even a penny less of the house and his compensation. I took the prepared materials and went straight to Mateo Fu's family. It was dinner time and the whole family was sitting happily around the dinner table. Mateo Fu was chewing on the braised pork while complaining about the dish I cooked. Mom, you don't know how terrible Alara's cooking is. She doesn't even add any seasoning. It tastes bland in my mouth. Maeve covered her mouth and laughed. She definitely didn't do it with all her heart. After all, she's your stepmother. How could she be truly kind to you? Mateo Fu nodded in agreement. Now that you're back, I won't have to live a hard life anymore. The mother-in-law took the opportunity to complain. She is a selfish woman, and only my son likes her. My father-in-law was about to say something, but he suddenly stopped talking when he saw me standing at the door. He frowned. You still have the nerve to come back. I glanced at the food on the table expressionlessly. Big fish and meat, thick oil and red sauce are simply not something my parents-in-law can eat. 5 years ago they were diagnosed with severe high blood pressure and high blood lipids during a physical examination, and the doctor told me to strictly control their diet. Don't eat food that is too oily or salty, and don't eat food that is too sweet or high in fat. So even though I am a person who eats heavy food, the food I cook is light and healthy. As for Mateo Fu, I would make him a separate bowl of dipping sauce or a separate portion of his favorite flavor in case he doesn't like the food. Now it has become a bitter day in his mouth. That's ridiculous. The mother-in-law snorted coldly. Why did you come at dinner time when you could have come at any other time? Are you trying to disgust me on purpose? I threw the documents on the dining table. Once Elijah Fu dies, my marriage to him is void. I have no obligation to support or raise you. I have taken care of you all these years out of my conscience. Now that you are showing no mercy, there is no need for me to continue being your babysitter. I paid for the renovation of this house. I will not take less than a penny of what I deserve. Otherwise, I will see you in court. The mother-in-law didn't even look at the documents. She smiled for a while before saying arrogantly, Iran, you probably don't know that Xiaochuan has a will, right? I was stunned. What will? The mother-in-law glanced at the father-in-law and Maeve and a malicious smile flashed across their faces. Before you saw Xiaochuan for the last time, he had already made a will. This house was given to Ziming, and all his compensation was given to me and his father, but we have almost spent it all. It's true that you paid for the renovation, but this is Xiaochuan's premarital property. Don't even think about taking a penny. A bone-chilling chill spread throughout my body. I held on to a last glimmer of hope. Impossible. These are all excuses you guys made up to not want to share the money. Mateo Fu took out the well-preserved will from his mother-in-law's bedroom and smiled smugly. My father is not a fool. After he dies, you will be an outsider. Why should an outsider take our family's money? I looked at the will. The familiar signatures and bright red fingerprints told me that what they said was true. The taut string in my brain suddenly broke and my heart was filled with extreme pain. Turns out that the love that Elijah Fu talks about is so cheap. It turns out that what I have been maintaining for the past 10 years is a rotten true heart. Elijah Fu died and I'm 36 now. A woman's precious 10 years were gone just because of his one sentence. I returned to the hotel in a daze. Thinking of the smiles on their faces when they left, a surge of anger rose to my throat. The more it burns, the more painful it becomes. I can't just let this go. Since I can't get the house, they can't expect to have an easy life either. Elijah Fu's house with a few uncles who came from other provinces. The whole family is away, which is just what I want. I swung the iron rod in my hand and said coldly, this house is not mine except for the shell. Everything else is mine. Since I can't take it away, just smash it. Upon hearing this, the uncles started smashing things without caring about anything. A TV that costs 8,000 yuan, smash it. Smash the sofa that costs 30,000 yuan. Smash the $6,000 refrigerator. Mateo Fu's gaming laptop, smash it. In less than an hour the house was a mess. I also destroyed all the paint on the walls and the lamps hanging on them. My quality of life doesn't suffer if I don't have these, but if they don't have these, I wonder who will pay to buy them for them. I stepped on Mateo Fu's homework book and looking at the crooked words on it, I remembered that I still hadn't resolved the issue of his school enrollment. He had poor grades since childhood, and it was common for him to stand on the podium on Mondays. Later, he couldn't even hire a tutor. The only time I wrote an essay, he portrayed me as the third party who destroyed the relationship between his parents. The head teacher found me and asked me to have more heart-to-heart talks with him. But when I got home, I saw his grandparents praising him to the sky. Praise him for his outstanding literary talent, and say he will become a great writer in the future. I pointed out that he had problems with his values and they immediately pointed at my nose and started scolding me. What values do children have? They just write whatever they see. If you are nice to him, will he say this to you? He's only in the first grade. Can a first grader lie? Later I was afraid that he would grow up in a wrong direction, so I tutored him personally despite their abuse, and he was able to barely squeeze into the top 10 in the class. But as he grew older, he became more and more disobedient and his grades plummeted when he entered middle school. He had no chance of getting into Xuanhai University in this high school entrance exam. So I had no choice but to shamelessly ask the director which school had extra vacancies for admission. Unexpectedly, I was so lucky that I found out about Xuanhai High School after asking around. Although Xuanhai High School is a private school, the difficulty of admission is no less than that of ordinary national high schools. The children who can study here have outstanding academic performance. It just so happened that the principal of Xuanhai was my former mentor. I visited him in person, gave him gifts and bribed him, and only then did I barely get the spot. After he knew he was admitted to Xuanhai, he thought it was all because of his excellence. At the graduation banquet, he thanked everyone but forgot about me. I sneered and called the principal of Xuanhai. Teacher, Mateo Fu is clamoring to go to a technical secondary school, so please give this place to a student who needs it more. After resigning, I followed my uncles back to my hometown in Shanghai. My uncles told me not to worry. If the Fu family dared to disturb me, they would smash it again. I held back my tears and nodded. After a tiring journey, I got home, and before I even saw my parents, I received a flood of WeChat messages and voice calls from the Fu family. Their whole family came out, and even Maeve made a series of calls to me as if she was going to blow up my phone. Mother-in-law Alara, are you crazy? Believe it or not, I will call the police and have you arrested, I said expressionlessly. You have the right to decide who lives in the house, and I naturally have the right to decide what to do with the appliances and furniture. You'd better really call the police and see what they say. Father-in-law, you street shrew. It seems that the slap I gave you that day was too light. Don't even think about entering my house again. I raised the corner of my mouth and said, if you hadn't told me, I would have forgotten. I have been feeling unwell since that day. I have to take some time to go to the hospital for a comprehensive checkup. You will be responsible for the medical expenses and mental damages when the time comes. Mateo Fu. Alara, what right do you have to smash my gaming laptop? Just wait. When I graduate from Xuanhai and get admitted to a 211 university, I will definitely make you pay. Do you still think you can get on Xuanhai? Want to take the 211 exam? It would be good if the total score can reach 211. I rolled my eyes. Yours. I paid for it. The purchase record and receipt are all here. I can smash it if I want. You ungrateful little bastard, better shut up. Maeve, it was indeed very hard for you to raise Zimming, but you can't destroy my house just because my mother-in-law said a few words to you. I feel sorry for them being bullied by you at their age. Fortunately, I came back. Otherwise Zimming would have learned a lot of bad things. People will laugh when they are speechless. Is this her home now? Yes, you are the best teacher. I didn't care about him for 10 years, but he came back when he was in high school. Who in the world can calculate better than you? With you, this idiot will definitely not fail in math. Also, I smashed my things. What's your business? If you feel so bad for their family, just buy them yourself. Maeve immediately replied to me, since you are so heartless, don't be jealous and regret it when he is filial to me in the future. Regret. It really opened my eyes, and I will never regret it. Without the burden of the Fu family, I should have lived a different life. I looked at my rough hands and dry hair, and the anger in my heart rose up. Elijah Fu passed away. I had a career that I was proud of and a respected status. I changed my manicure basically every half a month, had my hair done once a month, and never looked at the price when buying clothes. After he passed away, I became an ordinary teacher. I had to get up at 6 o'clock every day, and could go to bed at 11 o'clock at the earliest. I was tortured by the boring teaching content and difficult parents and lost more and more hope in my job. I also became more cautious when buying things. Elijah Fu's compensation, but a person's salary has to be split into 4 parts, and oftentimes I even have to rely on my parents' subsidies. I've had enough of days like this. I must be living a better life than you. Instead of caring about me, you should pray to Buddha and pray that your wishes will come true. Maeve must have been very angry with me. She was typing for a few times before replying. You are 36 years old this year, and you are still a slut whose husband died. I don't think anyone would want you. It would be nice for you to live alone for the rest of your life. I was too lazy to talk to her anymore and just deleted and blocked the whole family. Never see you again. Without the Fu family members being an eyesore, I finally had a few days of peace and quiet. In order to make it up to me, my parents gave me a house, finely decorated, ready to move in. If the Fu family doesn't give you a house, well, buy one for you. Only your name is written on the property deed. I wonder who dares to bully you in the future. My dad was outraged. My mother wiped away her tears and said, Iran, I raised you with great effort. You have suffered a lot over the years. I will never let you stay away from me in the future. A warm feeling surged through my heart. No matter how good I am to the Fu family, they still treat me as an outsider, but no matter how badly I do, my parents always think of me. I held their hands and couldn't help feeling relieved. When I came back from the interview that day, I heard my mother sitting on the sofa angrily. It's really haunting. I walked over and saw that Mateo Fu's grandmother had tagged my mom under her TikTok video. Sifeng Pielio. My grandson got admitted to Xuanhai University, and my daughter-in-law bought some high-end furniture. I am enjoying the happiness. Unlike some people, I will only be jealous and shed tears in the future. In the video, Maeve and Mateo Fu are directing the workers to move furniture. Mateo Fu is also wearing the Xuanhai school uniform that I bought for him in advance. I felt nothing inside and even felt like laughing. Mom, If she wants to show off, just let her do it. She's still going to suffer more. My mother became angrier and angrier as she thought about it, and immediately took me to our new home. She bought some broken furniture and she still acted arrogantly. If she hit me, I would hit her too. That night my mother posted a video on TikTok with the caption, "It's good not to have an ungrateful stepson and vampire in-laws. My daughter is the only one living in such a big house." Mateo Fu's family is thoughtfully tagged. The decoration style of the house is European and American, and the sunset shining through the floor-to-ceiling windows is breathtakingly beautiful. The Fu family's house was made to look like a slum. Mateo Fu's grandmother was jealous and angry, and she pulled Mateo Fu to post several videos overnight to show that she didn't care. Mateo Fu holds a new game console in his hand, and sings the same tune with his grandmother, zimming, "My stepmother bought a new house. Are you envious?" Mateo Fu answered while playing games, "I envy her. It's just a shabby house. I can buy 10 in the future." His grandmother chuckled, very satisfied with his answer. "Then your stepmother will be unable to marry, and will live alone until she comes to you for shelter. Will you let her into your home?" Mateo Fu's lips curled up into a mocking smile. "She deserves it. Besides, she never supported me. She lives in our house and spends our money. It's obviously us who support her. If it weren't for my biological mother's encouragement, I would have been led astray by her by now. I will definitely ignore her when I see her in the future. She can't even ask for a bowl of leftovers from me." Maeve also appeared at the right time. "You are worthy of being my flesh and blood. You are so sensible." Netizens in the comment section also complained bitterly, saying that stepmothers can never be as good as biological mothers, and praised Mateo Fu for being young but sensible, and having a bright future ahead of him. Mateo Fu's grandmother liked and replied to each post one by one, and in every reply she mentioned that her precious grandson had been admitted to Xuanhai University. "I didn't tell them that Mateo Fu had lost his admission eligibility. It would be fun to see them get slapped in the face on the first day of school." In the blink of an eye it was the start of the school year, and as expected I received a call from Mateo Fu that day. I raised my eyebrows, knowing that something interesting was about to happen. Mateo Fu on the other end of the phone could be described as furious. "Alara, are you deliberately losing my admission spot to retaliate against me?" I laughed. "Don't you know how many points you got in the high school entrance examination? It's because you are too bad that they don't want you. Don't blame me for everything." Mateo Fu took a few deep breaths and said, "I don't care. You are the one who arranged my admission. If you don't solve it for me, I won't be able to go to school. How can you be so cruel, so selfish?" I was speechless. "Why don't you go find your biological mother? Aren't you afraid that your stepmother, will mess with you behind your back?" Mateo Fu choked and stammered, "My mom is not a teacher. She doesn't understand these things. I'm a teacher, so I have to help, right? Don't you know that I have nothing to do with you guys now? How dare you give me orders?" His grandmother seemed to say something to him, and he immediately said reluctantly, "As long as you can solve this matter for me, I can reluctantly support you in your old age. Don't be ungrateful." "Oh, it's really a huge temptation." I sighed pretentiously. "I'm sorry you don't have books to read, but I do have classes to go to. I teach at the best national high school in Shanghai. When I get old, I will have a generous pension. I can't spend it all. I can't spend it all." Mateo Fu became even more anxious. "Alara, are you doing this to my father's spirit in heaven?" My face immediately darkened. "It's your family that has wronged me. If you harass me again, I will call the police." I blocked the phone again. When I got home in the evening I received another call from Principal Xuanhai. There was a hint of anger in his voice. "Iran, what on earth is your ex-husband's family like?" "I can't deny it. Did they come to school to cause trouble?" The other party snorted. "I warned them this morning, but they didn't dare to cause trouble. But they harassed me with different accounts, saying that I was deliberately targeting Mateo Fu. I accepted him because of your kindness, but I didn't expect that he would take himself so seriously. I can relate to this. How are you going to fix this? What's there to solve?" I said it was because of you that I gave him this supplementary enrollment quota. Now that you've been kicked out by them, of course I have to take it back. I am happy. I was afraid they would come to trouble you, so I called to let you know." I smiled and said, "Thank you for thinking of me." He also smiled. "You did a lot for me in the past. This is what I should do." In fact, what I did was what a student should do, but he always remembered it. On the other hand, even if I give my heart to Mateofu's family, they will still blame me for being too bloody and hurting their eyes. So now all this is what I deserve. As expected, a few days later, Mateofu's grandmother and grandfather brought Mateofu to my house. They looked around my house with a gleam in their eyes. My dear mother and father-in-law, you spent a lot of money on this house. I thought you rented it at first. My parents sat on the sofa drinking tea, and didn't even look up when they heard me say, "People who haven't seen the world usually act like this." Mateofu's grandmother froze for a moment, then smiled awkwardly. "You still haven't told us." My father snorted coldly and slammed the cup down on the table. "That was because I didn't allow her to do so. Her marriage to your family was considered marrying down. We didn't agree at all at first, but she insisted on marrying. In the end, she didn't even have a place to live." Mateofu's grandmother rolled her eyes and said, "So today we came to discuss the house and Zimming's schooling with Iran." My mother didn't understand what she meant, so she immediately added, "Iran is a teacher. She has many connections. If Sun Hai Zimming can't get in, he can come to Shanghai to study, and go to Iran's school." Mateofu also said, "My dear father-in-law, you always say that we don't give Iran a place to live, but the house is so small, there is no room. Doesn't Iran have her own house? Then my husband and I can move in to help her take care of Zimming's studies. It will be very convenient." My mother's eyes widened. She couldn't believe that people could be so shameless. "You guys are really calculating. Get out of here right now or I'll call security." Mateofu's grandmother didn't want to, and she grabbed the sofa and yelled. I got up and went to the living room, looking annoyed. "Shut up. You're so noisy. I'll throw you out if you keep yelling." As soon as they saw me, they immediately gave me a fawning smile, pushed Mateofu forward, and stuffed some cheap local specialties into my arms. "Iran, don't you love eating this walnut the most? Zimming peeled it for you personally. It's convenient and healthy to eat." "I am happy. Who said I love to eat?" When my mother saw the walnuts, she got so angry that she stood up and threw the walnuts into the trash can. "You guys didn't know that I'm still allergic to walnuts." Mateofu's grandmother was stunned, as if she was trying hard to remember something. "I remember she loved to eat." Mateofu also nodded. "Yeah, haha, it's obviously Maeve who loves to eat." On Maeve's birthday, Mateofu peeled the walnuts for her a few days in advance, packed them in vacuum bags, and sent them to another province. His grandmother cooked the extra chopped walnuts into soup, which caused me to have an allergic reaction all over my body, and I had to go to the emergency room. What did they say then? How can you be allergic to something as good as walnuts? You must be jealous of Maeve and are playing this on you. If you like it, just tell me. You're always so cunning. No one listened to my explanation. You still thought I loved eating walnuts. My dad scowled. Even if I had a dog, I would care more about my daughter than you do. Seeing our resistance, Mateofu's grandmother winked at Mateofu, who was standing beside her. Mateofu walked up to me shyly and called me Mom in a low voice. I gave him a puzzled look. "Isn't your mother away? Who are you calling?" Mateofu was choked by me and his face turned red. "She is busy with work and has no time." I nodded. "I'm busy when I'm doing something, and am idle when something good happens. What a coincidence." Mateofu's grandmother smiled awkwardly when she heard this. "She doesn't understand these things." My mother was unhappy when she heard this. "You said it yourself that my daughter is not as good as her. You should ask her to solve this matter." Mateofu's grandmother slapped her mouth quickly. "Mother-in-law, I was just angry. Don't take it seriously." My mother snorted coldly. "My daughter is just an outsider. She doesn't have time to care about your family's affairs." Mateofu spoke again, and his voice sounded very fatherly. He frowned, looking like an elder lecturing a younger person. "Iran, your mother-in-law has spoken to you in such a humble manner. What else are you dissatisfied with? You are a teacher. Is there any teacher who is so disrespectful to the elders?" Mateofu's grandmother straightened her back and seemed to agree with what he said. "Here we go again. Do you think you are an elder just because you are older?" I raised my eyelids and said coldly, "First of all, she is not my mother-in-law. Secondly, I only respect people who deserve my respect. Finally, I haven't paid you the medical expenses and compensation for the mental damages for slapping me last time. Please pay me now." I took out the inspection report from my phone with a faint smile on my face. "If you don't give it to me, I will send this report to the homeowners group in your community, so that your neighbors can have a good look at what good things you have done." Mateofu is a typical male chauvinist. He has no special abilities in his life, but he cares a lot about face and seniority. His expression suddenly changed. "How dare you?" My parents only now realized that he beat me. He rushed to Grandpa Mateo Fu and grabbed him by the collar with both hands. Since she was little, I feel sad every time she loses a hair. You actually hit her. Who gave you the qualification? Who gave you the power? Mateo Fu was frightened by my dad, but he still stiffened his neck and said stubbornly for the sake of face, "She is a junior. Why can't I fight her?" Mateo Fu's grandmother immediately changed her attitude and said, "If you really dare to hit me, we will blackmail you to death." An urgent doorbell ring interrupted the tense atmosphere in the living room. After answering my call, several uncles hurried over, all of them tall and strong. The arrogance of Grandpa Mateo Fu just now dissipated a lot in an instant. "I'll only say this once. Get out of here right now. I'm not afraid of you blackmailing me." Several of my uncles were wandering around and didn't care about their threats at all. Mateo Fu's grandmother turned pale instantly and immediately pulled the person towards her. "Don't bother with them, old man." Mateo Fu glared at my dad unwillingly but still stepped back. I called up the payment code, 10,000, not a cent less. Mateo Fu's grandmother looked pale. "What kind of test costs 10,000? The uncle saw that she didn't want to give it, so he stepped in front of her and said, "If she says 10,000, then it's 10,000. Fearing that she would really be beaten, she finally compromised and transferred the money to me. Mateo Fu suddenly spoke up and stared at me angrily. "Alara, how can you threaten Grandpa and Grandma? Do you still have the heart?" He seemed to have suffered a great injustice. "Forget it if you don't want to help me. I'll go find my biological mother. She will definitely let me go to a better school. Just wait for me." After saying that, he took the two of them and left angrily. I stared at his back and felt only irony. He has been with me since he was 6 years old. 10 years have passed. Even if it is a pet, I can't be without feelings for him. I didn't understand why he hated me so much before. Now I don't want to understand. Mateo Fu from my mother. My mother couldn't stop smiling. "Oh, they say evil deeds will be punished." It's true. After asking carefully, I found out that in order to let Mateo Fu go to a good high school, his family actually sold their house and gave the money to Maeve, asking her to contact her acquaintances to get him into a good high school. Maeve took the money and agreed to do the job, but after she went out, she never came back to him again. All contact information of the Fu family was blocked by her. Mateo Fu's grandfather suffered a cerebral infarction in anger and was admitted to the hospital. I heard that he might be paralyzed. The Fu family was in complete chaos. My mother paused for a moment and asked, "Isn't he in good health? How could he have a stroke so easily?" Thinking of the table after table of greasy food, I laughed and said, "Maybe it's because they ate too well." My mother agreed, and after a while she suddenly said, "Linju is back and asked you to have dinner tonight." My heart suddenly moved. "When did you come back?" My mother smiled and said, "This morning." I uttered a low "oh." My mother gently pushed me and said, "After he found out about your situation, he was so anxious that he didn't even finish the meeting. He came back immediately to seek justice for you. He cares about you more than I do." I scratched my fingers and said, "Mom, don't talk nonsense." My mother said, "Why are you being so reserved with me? He has been in contact with you for the past 10 years, right? He was the one who helped Mateo Fu when he had a fever and was hospitalized." Thinking of Linju's clean and gentle eyes, my heart softened. "He is my neighbor and has been pursuing me for many years. He went abroad to study only after I got married. Later Elijah Fu passed away and he returned from abroad. He was there during many difficult days. That time, I was only thinking about the Fu family and was worried that Mateo Fu would not accept me. Even though I liked him in my heart, I rejected him coldly, fearing that he would continue to waste his time on me. But he just said, 'Being nice to you is my own business. You don't have to feel pressured.' Now I no longer worry about the Fu family, but I don't know what to do." My mother seemed to know what I was thinking and asked teasingly, "Do you need me to ask you?" My face was burning and I ran back to my room. "Just leave it alone." I just went out at night and unexpectedly ran into Mateo Fu. For the first time ever, he came to see me alone. After meeting my gaze, he immediately lowered his eyes. I walked past him expressionlessly, but he grabbed my sleeve. "Mom, I was wrong." He pursed his lips and his eyes were red. "Grandpa is in the hospital, and Grandma is crying so hard that her eyes are almost blind. I really can't do anything. Please go back and take care of her." In the past I would have been heartbroken, but now who cares? I let go of his hand and said, "This is your family matter. Does it have anything to do with an outsider like me? Mateo Fu gritted his teeth and wanted to kneel down and apologize to me in order to soften my heart. His legs were half bent, but he was pulled up by a pair of large hands with distinct joints. Lin Zhu smiled and said, "It's too early to wish you a happy new year." My heart skipped a beat as I looked at the man I hadn't seen for a long time. "How did you get here?" He put his scarf around my neck. "Come and get you." Mateo Fu, who was ignored, pushed Lin Zhu away and took out a pair of safety locks from his pocket. "Mom, I just found out a few days ago that this was something you asked for me on the mountain, but Grandma always made me think it was sent by that woman." Looking at the exquisitely crafted piece lock, I was not moved at all. Elijah Fu had the car accident. Mateo Fu was also there. He was terrified, and from that day on he often had nightmares. Sometimes he would wake up in the middle of the night and cry for his dad. After trying various methods to alleviate the situation and failing, I went to a very effective Buddhist temple to ask for this safety lock. I climbed up thousands of stone steps step by step. I didn't expect his grandmother to say that. I didn't mean it before. Can you please stop being mad at me? I raised the corner of my mouth. No, you did it on purpose. This was the first time I looked at him so carefully. Is this the only thing I've done for you? Whether I am good to you or not, don't you have any feelings or judgments? You don't think you're wrong. You just can't rely on Maeve. So you come to me. Mateo Fu held back his tears and kept shaking his head. I didn't. I will take good care of you in the future. He stepped forward and tried to hold my hand but was stopped by Lin Zhu. Don't worry about her retirement. I will marry her and give birth to her own child if I'm lucky. A child who is grateful will feel sorry for his mother. Mateo Fu froze. Mom. Lin Zhu's words made him completely panic. I looked at him and said, "Don't call me Mom. You don't deserve it." Lin Zhu didn't want to waste time, so he pulled me away, leaving Mateo Fu standing alone in the snow. He didn't chase after me this time, probably because he knew there was no hope. I will have my own children in the future. Why should I raise him? See, he knows everything. Just horribly selfish. Just horribly selfish. Just horribly selfish. Just horribly selfish. Just horribly